What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and no fancy editing for the first video of the day. Got a bit of a late start, so not enough time to do that. I hope you'll still enjoy the absolute cornucopia, the delicious buffet of get woke, go broke, tasty treats that I've got for you this morning. It is a trifecta of sadness for woke culture. I want to start off first and foremost talking about Birds of Prey. It is now being reported that it is performing so poorly that it may just kill off a sequel to The Squad. That's right. According to Paul Tassi, in an alternate universe, I would be exceptionally excited for The Squad, James Gunn's 2021 feature. I'm obviously skipping a word there. You all know what the movie's called, but you know I got to play the game, which is now stars the likes of Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, Viola Davis, and Taiki Waititi. It's a whole lot of talent and a whole lot of potentially awesome comic characters on screen. There's a bit of baggage here, though, in reality. Between the critical failures of the original Squad and the box office floundering of Birds of Prey, I'm pretty sure, if I look, I'm pretty sure it made it plenty of money at the box office. Yeah, almost $1 billion. Now, it wasn't reviewed very well, given a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, but certainly enough people were there to see it nonetheless. Those openings for a major superhero blockbuster in recent memory. Suddenly, I'm not so sure if the sequel, confusingly titled The Squad, at the moment feels like the best choice instead of including a 2 in it. There are many problems with Birds of Prey, but problems as to why it's having box office issues, not regarding to the quality of the movie, because quite frankly, it's rather good. But 3 of the biggest things working against it. 1, it was marketed as a looks-like sequel to The Squad, a movie almost everyone hated. It was rated R, lowering its potential box office further. 3, it started Harley Quinn and didn't feature a larger potential draw like Batman or Joker. Well, I guess it's all true. This would also be true of the sequel to The Squad. All the above, at least from what we know about it. Squad 2, or whatever they end up calling it, is obviously going to feel like even more of a sequel, even if it's supposed to be a more reimagining of the talented James Gunn of Guardians of the Galaxy, allowed to do whatever he wants. It's also supposed to be rated R as part of DC's counter Marvel plan, letting its heroes and villains get a bit more nasty. And at least from what we know so far, Harley may be indeed the biggest, quote, name here. If she does indeed return, The Squad 2 will not have box office draw like Will Smith on its side, nor will it appear to have larger DC heroes or villains like Batman or Joker from what we know so far. The thing is, this movie could be very good, and it still might not matter. Birds of Prey reviews were miles ahead of The Squad's, and yet that didn't help it at the box office at all. I'm expecting a very solid movie from the likes of James Gunn, but even if he delivers a 90+ rated feature, it may still end up tanking for all the reasons I've mentioned. As a fan, I don't care. I still want to see it. With this level of talent involved in the idea that it's essentially a redo of the first film, I want the movie to exist. But if I was Warner Brothers looking at Birds of Prey Returns, I would probably be pretty nervous. Now, I don't think they're going to back out of it. I would be pretty surprised, but it's interesting. It's interesting that it's doing that bad. And you see a lot of apologia coming out in the media. Ignore the negative hype. Birds of Prey isn't a box office disaster. What? Of course it is. It's going to lose money. What do you mean? Everything about this movie is a box office disaster. Yet these articles continue to exist. I mean, you're talking about a movie that has to make between 250 and 300 million just to break even. To break even. And they made 80 million in the first weekend. And if we look, Monday box office, Birds of Prey dropped 72% for a $35 million total. The hope that is Warner Brothers and DC Films, Birds of Prey has domestic legs of a Lego sequel and the overseas oomph of 50 Shades sequel. The Birds of Prey blah, 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 earned $2 million on Monday to bring a 4-day domestic total of $35 million. The title change that you think you've seen at AMC and elsewhere is not an official title change. While it's possible that Margot Robbie vehicle will get retitled Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey when it comes to Blu-ray, DVD, and VOD, for now it's just an SEO-friendly change for vendors and theaters. Yes, that's probably the title Warner Brothers and DC Films should have gone with initially, but c'est la vie. That 72% drop on Sunday to Monday is right between 3 Lego movies and 2 50 Shades sequels on the same weekend. John Wick Chapter 2 earned $2.6 million, down 67% after $30 million opening weekend. The Lego Batman movie dropped a harsh 82% after $53 million launch. That makes sense as it's a kids flick and the kids were back in school. In terms of expectation, Birds of Prey was expected to open better. For example, The Dark Phoenix, and because several folks asked me about this, Ford versus Ferrari, while I hailed the $31 million launch of James Mangold's $97 million budgeted Ford versus Ferrari as a likely win, the judgment was predicted by its A+ cinema score and likely set the award season table and the correct presumption that it would leg out nearly 4 times its opening weekend, and ironically didn't take off overseas, and its $222 million global total isn't quite what Fox and Disney wanted. Moreover, the franchise-driven World, $31 million launch for the Matt Damon, Christian Bale flick, an eventual Best Picture nominee, was considered a near miracle. Birds of Prey came in well below Warner Brothers' cautious $45 million projections and the 50 to 55 by tracking services. So it is not looking good. But do we think that perhaps there is a trend here? Because let's just take a look at some of the shows that we've reported on this channel over the past couple of months and how their ratings are doing. So Batwoman would be another kind of girl power show, marketed as such, just like Harley Quinn. And to me, it just seems like girls don't care. As much as Hollywood likes to virtue signal about women want to watch superhero movies, it would appear that there's just not that many of them. Let's look at Batman. Record lows. The lowest ratings of the season, down 1.2 million viewers. Think about that. Now, that was on 126, but look at that. It opened with 1.8 million and now is barely averaging 675,000. They've lost 2/3 of their audience. Why do you think that is? Well, again, I think it's not just because woman. I really don't. I think that a female-led comic book or superhero show could do well. I don't think there's, okay, maybe there's a few idiots out there, but the amount of people that would just dismiss a show out of hand because woman is minuscule. What it is bad writing and bad marketing. When you run out of the gate with trailers like the Batsuit will be perfect when it fits a woman, or stuff like that, or where you're erasing history, or you're having media writing articles how a show isn't for you, and if you don't like it, you're all sorts of bad words. This is what you get. And just a few weeks ago, you saw this article, Batwoman ratings collapse with latest queer episode. Bad news for the CW Batman series. Following the big Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover, its ratings collapse as the show suffers its worst viewership to date. Not including the Crisis crossover episode, Batwoman had been averaging 1.26 million viewers, but the post-Crisis episode aired Sunday only managed 780,000. And that was the week before. It went down even further after that. How about Doctor Who? Again, a show that people have been critical of for not just bad writing, but also the injection of socio-political issues, woke type marketing. And again, I understand that the initial reaction for many when, let's say, when you initially gender swapped the Doctor was, oh my God, they're doing this for PC reasons. And they probably were. But that in and of itself did not make the show bad. It was the writing. It was the marketing. It's the machine that for so many years has been a real ally to the film industry and mainstream media. It's broken. People are sick of hearing the same message. And so, sure, some people tune out of hand. But let's look at the ratings here. You had a 60% drop year over year, or 42% drop year over year for season 12, and it continues to drop. This is, if this number is real, okay, this site's been pretty reliable. Season 12, 400,000 viewers on February 9th. Are you kidding me? This is a major television show. And by the way, this number will be the absolute lowest it's ever been. Like all-time low for Batwoman and Doctor Who. Why do we think that is? Why? What could it possibly be? I don't think anybody truly dismisses these movies and TV shows out of hand. If they do, they'd be dumb. All right. There are plenty of great female-led television shows out there, and plenty of great female-led movies out there. It's a combination of the of fans feeling like this isn't for me, and that's both on the trailers and the marketing that it gets officially pushed out by the, let's say, BBC or CW or Warner Brothers, DC. Or it's a combination of that, plus also how the media, the machine around it, keeps pushing their agendas. And the more coverage these people get, the more damage it does to your brand. And ultimately, you could argue that, look, the people writing these articles, like, this isn't for you, they're not DC, for example. And that's correct. But if you're worried about the effects of the box office, DC needs to come out and correct these statements. But see, they can't, because that would be Hollywood going against that kind of woke mentality. But it's going to be interesting to see which studio blinks first after continued failure, after continued failure, after continued failure. When are they going to come out and say, hey, no, this movie is for everybody. It's you know, it's this, it's that. It's not a political thing. Come enjoy the film. Give it a chance. That's what we need to come out of Hollywood if they want people to give these movies a chance. Because Harley Quinn was not a terrible movie. It wasn't the best I've ever seen. But millions of people stayed home. Millions. Now, that is a combination of what happened with the Squad and having no big names. But there is a not insignificant portion of those people that are absolutely sick of being preached to. So continue to get woke, Hollywood, and we'll continue to teach you this lesson, old man. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.